Welcome in to another edition of the ICC Hour, as always presented by our friends over at Renaissance Bank. Today's guest has one of those baseball stories that make you stop and ask, how does that happen? How does a player with only one offer out of high school end up in the SEC? How does a guy who had to take the long road end up delivering one of the biggest hits in Ole Miss baseball history? Well, that's the story of John Gatlin. He didn't have every school in the country calling. He didn't have the perfect path laid out in front of him. He had one opportunity, and that opportunity came here at Itawamba Community College. From there, he kept building. ICC led to Ole Miss. Ole Miss led to the College World Series stage. And before the Rebels won the national championship in 2022, Gatlin had a hit that stood as one of the defining moments in the history of that program. But what I love the most about this story is not just about the hit. It's about what came before it. The doubt, the work, the people who believed in him, the decision to keep going when there was no guarantee it would work out. So today we're going to talk about all of it. John Gatlin joins us for today's ICC Hour, being presented by Renaissance Bank. Sit back, grab an ice cold Coke, and join the conversation here on Super Talk Mississippi 101.9 FM.
Guys, you're not going to believe the luck I've had lately. Just the other day, I had a flat tire, thought I was in big trouble. Before I know it, somebody pulled it over, fixed the tire.
Oh, that's not luck, Kirk. It's because
That's not the only thing. How about when I'm in a studio, drop the cell phone, bang, shatters completely. Guy hands me a brand new cell phone.
Yeah, Kirk, that's because you have Renaissance Rewards Extra.
Yeah, roadside assistance, cell phone protection, coupon straight to your phone.
And another discount with Renaissance Rewards Extra, Mr. Herbstreit.
Life's just easier when you have Renaissance Rewards Extra.
Well, John, appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us back on campus with, what is it, the 15 under team you got out here today?
That's right, 15 under American Legion, the junior, one of the junior Legion teams out of Tupelo.
Well, let's just kind of look back at your time here at ICC. Out of Tupelo, came to ICC. For people that may not know your full story, I guess let's get them caught up at point one. You know, what are you doing these days? And I guess you say, who's John Gatlin?
All right. So, gosh, you know, I was a little bit of a late bloomer in high school. It may be even different now, but when I was coming up, the recruiting happened typically your junior year of high school. That was kind of the timing of things worked out where they would see you offer scholarship and so on. Going to Tupelo, big public school, a little underdeveloped. I didn't play my junior year. I didn't touch the field until I was a senior, which is not uncommon, and I didn't need to. You know, I wasn't one of the better nine until then. But that makes it hard to get recruited. So, you know, at a young age, I decided I wanted to play college baseball. Well, I finished my last year of high school baseball standing on the field as a senior, and I have no offers. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here going, well, this isn't good, you know, because now they're offering guys behind me, right? I've been passed up. And I'll never forget, my dad came down to left field, and he said, what do you want to do? And I said, I'm going to play college and professional baseball. And he said, okay, do it, you know. I said, I don't know how, but I'm going to, you know. So I immediately kind of start looking around. In the meantime, I've committed to going to Mississippi State just as a student. You know, mm-hmm. I've got a dorm kind of getting set up, random roommate. I like Mississippi State, still do to this day. My youngest older brother was there, so on the weekends when I was in high school, if I went to a college football game, it was usually Starkville. And anyway, I told my dad I'm going to play. So I start looking around, and I find out that Northeast actually has a tryout coming up. ICC, I don't think, did tryouts at the time. They may now, may not, I'm not sure. And I said, well, there's my ticket. That's the only option I have. So I go to Booneville, try out. Goes very well. Coach comes up, says, hey, we don't have any spots for you, but maybe you can try to walk on or be on the team. And I was about to do that, and then within the next 48 hours, Alex Williamson, who was the assistant coach at ICC at the time, picks up the phone and calls me and says, hey, what are you doing next year? And I said, well, right now I'm going to Mississippi State as a student, but I just tried out for Northeast, and it went well. He said, well, we had a kid that is going to go in the draft. I'll never forget Josh Hodges, great player, really tall pitcher from Inglemoor, was committed to ICC, decided to go in the draft. Well, that freed up one more spot, and Williamson said, he's going in the draft. We didn't know that till now. We got one spot. Do you want it? And I said yes.
Nice.
2 days later, I drive to Fulton. I put my name on paper, sign, shake Alex Williamson's hand, said, the day that I sign a pro contract, I'm going to call my mom and dad first, and then I'll pick up the phone and call you because you're the one that gave me a chance. And he said, that's why I called you, you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the cool, feel-good part of the story. We can get way more into the weeds with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it came about after high school.
And I love the fact that you bid it on yourself, you know, invested in yourself, saying, hey, this is my dream. I'm not giving up on that dream. And, of course, we'll talk about it later on, but you achieved that dream. And that's an awesome story just for you, but for our listeners right now to know that, hey, if you got a dream, dream big and chase that dream.
Right. And I will admit, I was maybe a little silly at times thinking that. It was all an internal thing for me. I tell my wife that all the time. I was like, I had no real reason to believe that I could do that. I just did. And I was the only one, and I knew that, and I didn't blame others for not believing that. They didn't have any reason to believe it. But I did, you know, and it was pretty strong at the time.
So when you come to ICC, do you remember the person you were? Obviously, you know, it's been a few years, just a few, but do you remember first walking on campus from Tupelo to now ICC? Do you remember that person that was John back then?
I do, yes, very well. Still very young and very hungry. A little bit of a no-name. I think Coach Collier kind of glanced at me a little bit in high school, and back then they had the protected list for his district or region or whatever they called it, and I was not on it. So he didn't see a future with me, which he shouldn't have. I'd never blame him for that, you know. But, yeah, that I was young and underdeveloped for sure when I got here.
So when you got here, you already knew about the program, but once you kind of laced it up and got out there with the guys, what was your impression of the program?
I loved it. Gosh, I had a brother that had come through here a few years prior than me that had a good experience at ICC, and I just remember thinking, this is such good baseball, you know, and no, there's not 12,000 people in the stands, but it is 9 guys on either team. They're there for one reason only, and that is to win. And that's fun to play sports when that's what everyone there's for, and they're good, you know.
Yeah, it's that JUCO mentality.
Very much so.
I don't think, unless, and of course, I've never played. Well, I played golf here, but you don't have that JUCO mentality. But you know that baseball, basketball, football, it's almost like a brand of pride.
Yeah.
You know, you coming through this JUCO because it's tough, it's demanding. When did you first say, "Dang, this is different"? Whenever you saw the level of play from where you were to where you once you stepped on the field.
In reference to here at ICC,
yes, yeah.
You know, I was explaining to some of my players I'm coaching this summer earlier. It was a different time back then. You know, I didn't know all these local players that were from Saltillo and Morville. You just didn't know each other. Social media wasn't that big of a deal. The summer ball travel teams weren't that big of a deal. So I just remember getting here and have heard these names, you know, the Latham and Landon Brister twins, and how great all these guys were, and they were all great ball players. And then they're all together at once. And you're like, okay, so that's that guy. This is this guy. And it's a little intimidating when you, like myself, were the last one in the door and felt a little bit like you weren't supposed to be there in the first place. But yeah, it was a little intimidating seeing some of those names and faces.
Take me and help me because I remember the Bristers. Who else was on that team?
Oh, gosh. Let's see. We had Nathan Flanagan, Joseph Kuhn, Will Irvin, Evan Weibel.
Yeah, I remember Will. So you said Will. I remember the Pearl River.
The
Pearl River Scuffle.
Yeah.
That's what we'll call on the radio, the Scuffle.
That's right.
So, yeah. So, okay, I get where you're at now.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to get caught up on that.
First generation of BB Core bats, which was a very tough time to play in college baseball that I don't think those players that came through that time get enough credit they deserve to have to hit with those first generation BB Core bats, which was very difficult.
So for those that are listening, and we'll kind of sidetrack on that, kind of explain what that is.
So in a nutshell, the aluminum or metal bats that high school, college kids had used in years past were becoming dangerous, essentially. They were making them so high tech, and the technology was so good that you could hit the ball so hard enough to where reaction time was not there for a pitcher or third baseman. And if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me, but I think there's some serious, maybe some deaths or very serious injuries on line drives, and the exit velocities were just astronomical. So they said, okay, well, we can't put wood bats in everybody's hands because wood bats break all game long, and not everyone can buy hundreds and hundreds of wood bats every year. So let's tone down the metal bats, and they toned them way down. I mean, you would rather have hit with a good wood bat, you know.
Yeah.
I think they fine-tuned it a little bit now, but it was all for safety, and then they've kind of changed the ball a little bit to combat some of the weaker bats, and I think they've got a good medium now.
You talk about that, I think back to like the Dustin Lunds, guys like that that could put them in the waterway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and then I look ahead and look at a guy like Tyreek Reed that came through, I think 10 years behind him. I'm like, thank God he don't have that bat in his hands.
Yes.
So.
No doubt about it.
So was there a point when you were here at ICC that you kind of said you saw yourself take a big leap as a player? Well, not just a player, but as a person as well. Was there ever a point where you're just like, hey, I'm where I need to be, and I'm on the path that God wants me on?
Absolutely. I'll never, ever forget. I'm glad you asked that, and my wife loves this story. I came in as a freshman, as a nobody. Coach Collier was really big on physical fitness and just toughness, and I had a lot to prove to him. He didn't know anything about me, and we have a fitness test when we get here. Well, I show up kind of, like I said, as a nobody, and did very well in the fitness test. As a big boy, I wasn't short and fast, and I just did very well. Just a lot of toughness and leadership in that particular fitness test. And I believe, and I think he would say the same thing if he remembers, that was a moment where he kind of said, I think I like this kid, and I may have missed him, I'm glad he's here. And I thought the same thing. I remember thinking, I can do this. I can play with these guys that I was a little intimidated by when I got here. And I was coming back to Fulton. We did the fitness test. I think I may have gone home for a weekend. And I was driving back to Fulton before we started like fall practice or whatever on a Sunday night, coming over the Tom Bigby Waterway. And I just remember thinking, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I had the best feeling internally that I haven't been able to replicate that in that kind of setting. But coming over the bridge, thinking, I love where I am. I love my roommate. I love my teammates. I'm doing well. I'm finally maturing physically. I'm about to take off. I truly believed that, and I thought this was my time. Shortly thereafter, I was not in the starting lineup at the beginning of the year, rightfully so. We had a lot of good players. One of them had a couple off weekends, and Coach Collier, one of my favorite things about him, said, I'm going to give player X a couple more chances, and as soon as he proves me that he's not ready yet, you're up. And he did, and he put me in. I never looked back, I've always respected that he had the ability to kind of put his pride to the side and say, I know I didn't recruit you in high school, really. I made a mistake. You're about to get a shot,
Well, talk about your relationship with Rick and Alex. Love those guys. We'll always love those guys. Not say I hate they're not here. Rick retiring, Alex going on to good things as well. But just talk about your relationship and your memories with those guys.
Gosh, I learned so much from both of them. They were so good together. Not the same type coach, but sometimes that's the best combination of coaches. But just the overall mentality that they brought to the table and instilled in us. To this day, I'm still telling that to these kids right now that I'm coaching, and my kids when they play and stuff. It was just a different kind of JUCO mental toughness that those guys had day to day, and it was awesome. And then we bled it from them.
Yeah.
Guys, you're not going to believe the luck I've had lately. Just the other day, I had a flat tire, thought I was in big trouble. Before I know it, somebody pulled over, fixed the tire.
Oh, that's not luck, Kirk. It's because
that's not the only thing. How about when I'm in a studio, drop the cell phone, bang, shatters completely. Guy hands me a brand new cell phone.
Yeah, Kirk, that's because you have Renaissance Rewards Extra.
Yeah, roadside assistance, cell phone protection, coupon straight to your phone.
And another discount with Renaissance Rewards Extra, Mr. Herbstreit.
Life's just easier when you have Renaissance Rewards Extra.
With Little Caesars $5.99 Mix and Match, the pizzas are large and you're in charge. Choose 2 or more faves for only $5.99 each. Match this large pizza with that large pizza. Or any of these large pizzas with any of those large pizzas. Or maybe a large pizza and some Caesar wings. Hey, you're in charge. We'll just make it large. The Mix and Match menu from Little Caesars for only $5.99 each.
Pizza, pizza.
It feels like the deck is stacked against you before you even start your business. What's the difference between someone who fails and someone who succeeds? To succeed, you need an edge. You might invent technology that nobody else can imagine. Maybe you make the perfect product with the perfect fit. But what every successful business has is a bank that is there for them. Instead of saying slow down, a bank that asks, what's next? Renaissance Bank, understanding you.
What do you think, maybe, for your opinion, is the biggest misconception of JUCO ball?
I have a story for that.
Okay.
So when I was playing, after I went on to Ole Miss, I played summer ball in Baltimore, Maryland, the Cal Ripken League, and I'll never forget, I told people up there where they asked, where did I go out of high school? And when I told them junior college, their first reaction was, oh, did you have school like grade issues? You didn't have grades to go. Because you're clearly not a JUCO player. I'm like, hold on, back up. It's very different in the South. I said, these guys are from the Northeast, the West Coast, and junior college baseball is not what it is here out there. And they were puzzled, basically, of why would you go junior college out of high school? And I said, you kind of just have to experience it. There's so much talent and so much good athleticism at that level that feeds into the SEC that it's a really good place to be.
So before we transition into, I guess you'd say, the Ole Miss side of things, how did ICC prepare you as a person, as a player, athletically, academically, whichever route you'd like to go? How did ICC prepare you for that next step?
I think it's just the core values that this place kind of instills in all the students. On the athletic side, it's a toughness thing. You're playing in front of 100 people and not 10,000. You're eating a turkey sandwich on the bus. You're doing this and that, and you're still expected to play with intensity. Well, that can be difficult, but they teach you that, and they teach you to have that JUCO mentality of, I don't care if there's no one in the stands and we're playing in the parking lot.
Yes,
I'm going to win.
Yep.
We're still playing a game. There's going to be a winner and a loser at the end of this game. That physically and mentally on the sports side of things, that's kind of how it was. And academically, it's great. This is a great, I don't even want to call it a stepping stone because it's not. It's its own identity. But I remember getting to Ole Miss being significantly more prepared in the classroom, just overall discipline, physically, mentally, significantly more than some other transfers, and definitely a freshman, and I just remember thinking, I don't know how I would have handled playing at Ole Miss if I hadn't had 2 years of JUCO first. I don't know if I'd have been tough enough, I guess is what I'm saying. But,
okay. Yeah. Well, how did Ole Miss come into the picture for you?
So I had a really solid year at shortstop my freshman year with Coach Collier, and they still may do it, the JUCO sophomore showcase down at Holmes or Hines.
It's at Hines.
Yeah. And I went down there. I was getting a little bit of attention after my freshman year. Some good D1 schools, Nichols State, Southeastern Louisiana. They were really wanting me and wanted me quickly. And I went down to the sophomore showcase at Hines, and I'll never forget, I was playing shortstop, but didn't hit very well. I fielded a backhand in the game and threw it across the infield, and some scouts, I think it may have been a Padres and Brewers scout, kind of shot it on the radar gun for whatever reason. And I lit up the gun from shortstop on a backhand. And I walked back to the dugout, and Alex Williamson is standing there smiling, and I had 3 scout letters on my bag. Like from the Brewers of something. And I was like, what is this? And he said, they want to see you pitch. And I was like, I'm not a pitcher. I'm a shortstop, and they're like, I don't think they care. You just threw it. And it was like 99 or something across the infield. And they're like, get this kid on the mound. So he said, they want you to throw a bullpen after the scrimmage. And I said, okay, I'll do whatever, Well, then they turned into, you know what? They don't want to stick around after the scrimmage. They just want you to throw the last inning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I don't have pitches. I'm not a pitcher. Long story short, I get on the mound, throw 9 fastballs, 9 strikeouts. I guess the Brewers or Padres guy, one of them picked up the phone and called Carl Lafferty at Ole Miss and said, sign the Gatlin kid, turn him into a pitcher, and maybe we'll draft him.
That's awesome.
And that's it. And that's how it happened. And there's more to come after that. But that's how Ole Miss came about.
So what would you say? And of course, some people are going to think this is a crazy question, but you'll understand it. Being JUCO dog, as we call it, going to Ole Miss. What was the biggest adjustment for you when you came from ICC off Roy Crescent Field over to Ole Miss?
2 things that stood out. Very obvious. The overall speed of every player, 1 through 9, home to first, as far as like getting rid of the ball as an infielder, and the velocity out of the bullpens. That was a big change for me. So in JUCO baseball in Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana, everyone's ace is a SEC caliber pitcher, and their second guy is a D1 guy. They got and it may be even more now, but this is when I was coming through. Everybody around here had D1 athletes on the mound. It was the late in the weekend, game 2, game 3 of the series, late in the bullpen, where the pitching started to go down a little bit as far as velocity. And then you get to the SEC, and the starter maybe 90, 94 at the time, and then the middle relief guy's 95, and the closer's 98. Like it gets harder at that level.
Right.
That was a big adjustment. That and just the overall speed of the game.
So, it's anybody's ever picked up a bat. It's always their dream, especially around here, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, for me it'd be Notre Dame. But do you remember the first time you put on that jersey?
At Ole Miss?
Yes.
I do. I do.
Kind of just take us through that moment.
Oh, gosh. I remember walking out onto the field, and there were so many people, and there's so much noise and just activity going on with the Jumbotron. I just remember thinking, how are we supposed to play baseball in this environment? There's so much going on, and the focus level has to be so intense. And, in junior college, you can hear your third base coach telling you stuff to do at the plate. Well, on a Friday night at Ole Miss, you can't hear your coaches. You don't know what they're saying. You have an idea because you've done so many reps with them that you know what they're saying and doing with their motions. But that was a moment for me where I just remember thinking, this is crazy. I can't believe I got here. Let's keep going. I want to play at the next level, you know?
Yeah. So, we always see, of course, for me as fans, we're in the stands. What is it like being on the field with this, I'm going to steal an old school term, Swayze crazies? You kind of touched on it there, but can you put it into words what it's like to be in that atmosphere, especially a big-time SEC game or, just one of those tough situations? What's it like being on the field at Swayze?
You forget how to play, honestly. And I feel like that's something that hindsight, as the more mature I am now, looking back, I wish I could have slowed the game down a little bit more. But I was young, and it's hard to do that. Right. But yeah, being able to slow the game down was very difficult. I felt like I just kind of played, I don't want to say nervous, but you forget how to play. You feel great in practice. You're hitting the ball where you want to hit it. You throw the ball where you want to throw it. Then you get up there in a game, and everything feels different. Yeah. Your pants fit different. Your cleats feel different. And I did an okay job of it then, but as a coach, this is my first time coaching, one of the main things that I tell kids is be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that came straight from Mike Bianco. That is, you're not going to feel good, but you've got to be comfortable when you don't feel good. Right. And that's something that's very important and crucial at that level is you're not going to feel good on the mound. Maybe once every 10 outings, you got to be able to win when you don't feel good, you know.
What's it like playing for Coach Bianco?
It's awesome. He is, I catch myself using so many things that came from him in my career setting, in my family, coaching, talking to young coworkers that we've just hired, all this stuff. And I'm like, that all came from a combination of my baseball past, but a lot of it came from Mike Bianco. I mean, he's a legend. If there's a history book, he's going to be in it and have his own chapter. And he's a special person to play for.
All right. Do you have like one regular season memory that you can kind of point to and think about from back in your days at Ole Miss?
My first SEC start was something I'll never forget. It was at Georgia. I was looking at their football stadium. I think I was walking around with my mom and dad on their campus. I always loved the University of Georgia. I thought it was great. Awesome. Athens is awesome. Their football stadium is great. I'm standing there. We kind of like snuck in the field. It was easier to do back then. I think I'm standing on the 50-yard line. And I got a text message from my roommate. I'll never forget, John Allen Brown from Saltillo. And he said, you're starting today. This is at Georgia, Friday. That was the first I heard of it. Yeah. He had seen it. Somebody had tweeted it. They had just tweeted it out. I hadn't even been told by the coaches. And I had played leading up to this, but this was my first big start. And I'll never forget who was on the mound. I think he's still in the big leagues today. It was Alex Wood, the big lefty. He threw so hard and nothing was straight. And I had the most like beginner's luck, adrenaline, good game ever. I think I went 2 for 3 with 2 doubles and 3 RBIs or something. And I honestly cannot remember one pitch. It was just everything was just a blur, but that sticks out so much to me. And the fact that it was Alex Wood. I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer one day. There's no way he would remember any of that, but it was special to me to know that it was off him,
Most definitely. Talk about the atmosphere around the SEC and other stadiums that you've been in. Again, I think fans understand it from the bleachers, but on the field, it's got to be just insane.
It is. One of the best chicken wings I've ever had in my life was in left field at the old Duty Noble.
Yes.
Yeah. I was out there in batting practice, and somebody handed me a plate of food. It was awesome. It is, like I said, there's so much going on in those venues. It's so hard for a 18 to now 26-year-old kid to focus in that environment. It takes a mature athlete to be able to do that. And, those stadiums are, I've always said there's not a lot of pro sports in this part of the country, right? So if you really love high-level baseball, well, you either like the Braves that are 5 hours away,
right,
or the Cardinals that are 5 hours away, or you've got Mississippi State, Ole Miss, LSU. I really contribute that to that. Like, there's no other high level ball. The highest level is that if you're from around here, and there's a huge attraction to those universities because of that, in my opinion. Yeah, it's special. It's a lot different than playing in a rookie league, minor league, minor league game. Yeah.
You're always pushing yourself. There's no time to rest. You keep moving forward. The only thing better than your last accomplishment is your next.
What's next?
What's next?
What's next?
So, Allie, what's next?
I guess we'll see.
Find a bank that's as excited about your future as you are. A bank that asks,
what's next?
Renaissance Bank. Understanding you.
Are you in the market for a new or used vehicle? Look no further than Metro Ford. We have an incredible selection of F-150s, Explorers, Broncos, and so much more. Whether you're looking for a rugged truck for the job site or a family-friendly SUV, our expert team is here to help you find the perfect vehicle to fit your lifestyle and budget. And with our streamlined financing process, getting behind the wheel of your dream car has never been easier. Stop by today and experience the Metro Ford difference. We're conveniently located at 1000 Barnes Crossing Road in Tupelo. Online at MetroFordAutoSales.com. That's MetroFordAutoSales.com.
Guys, you're not going to believe the luck I've had lately. Just the other day, I had a flat tire, thought I was in big trouble. Before I know it, somebody pulled it over, fixed the tire.
Oh, that's not luck, Kirk. It's because
that's not the only thing. How about when I'm in a studio, drop the cell phone, bang, shatters completely. Guy hands me a brand new cell phone.
Yeah, Kirk, that's because you have Renaissance Rewards Extra.
Yeah, roadside assistance, cell phone protection, coupon straight to your phone.
And another discount with Renaissance Rewards Extra, Mr. Herbstreit.
Life's just easier when you have Renaissance Rewards Extra.
Well, let's kind of shift gears and talk about that World Series run you guys got. When did you first feel like you guys had a shot, or you guys were special enough to make a run?
Ooh, I knew from our first game of the year. We went down to Stetson, Florida, and I think we put up like 15 runs on Friday. They were a good team, and everybody hit doubles and home runs. Like everybody off the bench was hitting home runs and doubles, and we were having so much fun. I remember shaking their hand after Friday night's game, and multiple of their players going, "We'll see you guys in Omaha. Like y'all are the best. Y'all are legit." And I'll never forget that. And sure enough, we did. And it wasn't easy. We weren't the hottest team all year, but we kind of hung in there just enough.
Right. What do you remember the most about that postseason run?
Obviously, there's a special moment in Omaha.
Let's talk about just leading up to Omaha. Anything or what was it like? Take us on that ride.
Let's see. We had a pretty tough regional. That was fun playing in Oxford. We got to host. That was tough. The regional was difficult to get out of. We fared better in the Super. It just worked out better. I felt better about the Super than I did the regional, because the regional we kind of took some blows and had close games, and it was just a blur. Then we go down to ULL, who's the number one team in the country, leading the nation in home runs by a long shot. And I guess we lost the first game. I'm embarrassed. I can't remember that. I think we lost the first game and beat them the second game. Either way, the clinching game, this was a feeling I'll never forget either. It may have been game 3, and we were up by, 5 runs or so, which at that point against that team, that's nothing. That's one inning. And we had a couple walks, maybe Holt Pertzall gets a big hit. We go up like 6 or 7 runs, and they're out of pitching. They bring in their center fielder who hadn't pitched since high school. And I remember being up 6, 7, 8 runs, 6th, 7th inning, whatever it was, and their center fielder, who's not a pitcher, has to come in and pitch. And I remember thinking, we're about to go to Omaha. Like, they're out of pitching. That was their one thing they couldn't do, is run out of pitching. And they did. And I was like, we're going to go. And I remember that feeling of the dugout. Everyone knew, like, it was going to happen, but no one wanted to talk about it. It was a weird, really weird feeling.
One of those baseball superstitions.
Yes,
we didn't talk about it till we did.
Everyone was so silent with this nervous energy and kind of wanting to grin. But, yeah, that was a feeling I'll never forget.
So you go from Tupelo, no offers, to ICC. Now you're in Omaha. Was Omaha everything as a baseball player that you thought it would be?
It was that and more. I will say this until the day that I die: every baseball player deserves a chance to go to Omaha. That's how I felt. It was the most special week, along with my wedding and honeymoon week.
Yes.
It was one of the best weeks of my life, and I remember thinking, all the teammates that I played with, like the Brett Hubers, Tanner Mathis, all the Matt Snyder, these awesome players, some of my best friends that were on the team last year, I remember thinking they need to be here. Like, they were good enough. They deserved it. I wish they were here. And I wished Mississippi State guys were there. That's how I felt. I was like, this is so awesome. I want everybody to get a chance to do this.
All right. Then let's talk about the moment, the big hit. I'll argue with anybody that was the biggest moment in Ole Miss baseball up until they won the national tournament. So, and I know for you it was a special moment, because I believe your grandmother had just passed away not too long ago. So I know, she was smiling down on you. It might have been why you got that hit. Yeah. But just take me through that at bat. What do you remember, when you stepped into the box?
Yeah, I'll never forget any of it. It had been a rough couple of years. I had a lot of injuries. I had some pro attention going into my last year at Ole Miss, and then my injuries kicked in. Well, then I was kind of checked off the list. And at times I thought, why me? Why did I get hurt?
Right.
What's going on? Well, because of all the surgeries I had, I got a medical red shirt. Well, that happened to be the year we went to Omaha. So when we go to Omaha, I'm thinking, okay, well, that's why. That's why I got hurt, because had I not, I would have been gone the year before.
Right.
But we get there, and it had been a stressful year because I was rehabbing and kind of healthy and playing a little bit. My career was feeling like it was coming to an end, which was sad. And we get to Omaha, and months before, my brother decided to get married during one of those weekends. And my dad loves telling this story. He told him, he said, my brother's name is Ben. He said, Ben, they hadn't been to Omaha in, however many years. He was like, just schedule the wedding. It was like the one weekend they really needed to do it on.
Yeah.
And he said, schedule the wedding, and we'll just cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
Well, when I found that out, I told my brother, I said, you realize if we go to Omaha, I'm going to miss your wedding. Like, this isn't Little League. I can't just, miss the game. And he kind of was like, hey, well, we'll figure that out when we get there. Well, sure enough, we go to Omaha. And so my family wasn't even there. My immediate family wasn't there. During that time, my grandmother, like you said, passed away 2 days before the hit I got. And I remember Bianco offered to fly me back on the team Ole Miss jet if I needed to go home and like miss a day. And I told him, I was absolutely not. I said, she would rather me stay here, And I stayed. Come in late in the game against Texas Tech, elimination game, bottom of the ninth, like every kid's dream. I've practiced this a million times. And I remember thinking, going up to the box, going, this is easy. It was a very euphoric state. I thought I'd be more nervous. I was almost like on this weird high thinking, man, I've been doing this since I was in Little League. It's the last swing of the day. It's the bottom of the ninth in the World Series.
Yeah.
You got to get a hit to win the game. I said, I can do this. I've done it for years. And I'll never forget Cliff Godwin, our hitting coach and assistant coach at the time, pulled me off to the side right before I went up there and said, they're going to throw you a fastball in on the first pitch, and I want you to hit it 500 feet and hit a walk-off. And he was like, I'm serious. And I said, all right. And if you go back and watch the tape, very first pitch was a fastball in, and I swung as hard as I physically could and fouled it straight back. And at that moment, I remember thinking, that was my chance. Like, these guys are so good at this level at this point in the season. You get one pitch at bat to get a hit, and that was my pitch. Now I'm really on the defensive side of things. And sure enough, my approach totally turned into just don't strike out. Runner on third, less than 2 outs, just get the ball in the air. Hopefully adrenaline takes over, and it's far enough.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I've got a terrible pitch that I shouldn't have swung at.
That was going to be my next question. We'll get to that afterwards.
Yeah.
But when the ball came off the bat, did you know that you had just came through?
I did. But if you go back and watch the video, you can see a little bit of confusion on my face because I couldn't remember what to do. Like, do I have to touch first base? Do I have to leave my helmet on? There's all these rules that could really backfire.
You didn't want the little thing to screw up
Correct.
the big thing.
And you don't practice those in your head. And when the moment comes, you're not remembering those type things. So right as I touch first base, I kind of have this confused look like, is the game over? Do I need to do anything else? Do I need to celebrate? And then I look and see Errol Robinson and Will Jamieson and Aaron Greenwood, who was pinch running as a pitcher because he was very athletic, sprinting towards me. And I remember thinking, okay, it's over, and threw my helmet up in the air.
Nice.
But, there was a little bit of confusion there for a minute.
So take me through that pitch and what made you swing at that ball?
The only reason I swung is because the ball honestly looked like a beach ball. I remember thinking, I have so much adrenaline and I'm so – like I said, in this euphoric state that I feel like it doesn't matter where it's pitched, I'm going to be able to make contact. Should I have swung? No. I took one prior to that I should have swung at. But, I just remember thinking there's no way I'm going to miss it. So all I have to do is just get enough of it. You know? And they brought an extra outfielder in, which was confusing to me. So I remember thinking, well, this is even easier. Now they only got 2 outfielders. I just have to bloop something, literally just elevate the ball past the infield. And I did. It wasn't very pretty, but it worked.
At what point did it sink in of what you just accomplished? The hit, the history, the meaning behind it all. At what point did you just sit back? And you always see it in the movies where they're just like, holy crap. At what point was that moment for you?
It was, and I don't know if this is normal. I didn't have that moment until the rest of the team left on the bus, went back to the hotel. Well, myself, Coach Bianco, maybe a couple other players went to do like the ESPN post-game stuff. So we hopped in a van, like maybe ESPN or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I remember getting in that van, and it was quiet because we were all in the stadium. The team left, done celebrating. And I sat down in that van with Bianco, and I wish I remember the other players. I need to go back and look. And it was dead silent, and everyone was kind of breathing. And I think that's when it hit me. That was like, that just happened. You know, that was crazy. That was the moment, was leaving the field, headed to do the post-game stuff in that van. And Coach Bianco was sitting there silent. I was just kind of looking around thinking, what are we doing? How did we get here? This has been a crazy journey,
And the good thing is all those interviews with Kohlmeyer prepared you for that
That's
interview.
right.
Yeah.
Too many Kohlmeyer crunches. Just perfect.
So how did you, it's every kid's dream to be in that moment. How did you carry that moment with you even after you left Ole Miss? How did you carry that moment knowing that you did something that special for the program?
Yeah. Gosh, it was I'd be lying. This is a little soft, but my mom remembers these days. I shed a lot of tears after games in Oxford in that parking lot, hugging my mom and dad when I was on crutches and in a sling, and wondering, I have this confidence that I'm going to play professional baseball, but now I'm hurt. How is that going to work? And I just saw it all coming to a slow end. And then in such a short amount of time, it all turned around. We go to Omaha, the hit happens, get back from Omaha, the Astros call, all in like a 2-week span. So it happened so fast that I went from not sulking, but very anxious of what was going to happen. How was I going to find a way to keep plugging, to sitting on a plane, flying down to Kissimmee, Florida, to play with 30 guys that don't speak English, which was great, but it was,
Do you ever look back at the video of the hit or, maybe sit and talk with somebody? How does it, obviously you saw the point of view from it, but how do you see it, and what's your view of it today?
Gosh, I think it was one of those, I think Coach B said it a few times that good things happen like to people that work hard, and he knew I was a hard worker, and I wasn't his best player. I don't argue that at all, but he knew I worked hard, and I think that's why he put the bat in my hand. Is it's kind of because if you look at my stats that year, I barely played. They were terrible, and I hate when they show that on the video. Whatever my average was. It's like I don't even know if I had enough at bats to have an average. Let's not put the average on there. And I just remember thinking, this is why everything happened. This is why I got hurt. This is why this was the moment that it paid off, because like I said, I was coming to the end of a career that I would have been really upset about had it ended with me injured and not playing and not going to Omaha. And then now we're here. And I remember thinking, well, this is it. This was what was meant to be. This is why all that stuff can happen.
Yeah, that's the beauty of God's plan. We don't understand it, but whenever it comes through, man, it's great.
Yeah. That's right.
Greenwood at third, Brantley Bell at first with 1 out. Winning run at third base in a 1-1 game, a 1-2 count to John Gatlin. And the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, line drive, center field. It's a walk-off base hit for Gatlin, and the Rebels stay alive in the College World Series.
Boy, and you couldn't be happier for anybody, BK, than John Gatlin to get the walk-off win. And how about shortening up on that one with 2 strikes? That slider is down and away. That is a great pitcher's strike, BK, and Gatlin gets it done, and we're going to get to play again on Thursday.
There is no guy on the team that you would feel better for than him. He has fought through injuries. And Keith, he's a good player. John Gatlin, we knew when we got him that he could really help this team, but he's just fought so many injuries and got caught in numbers games with other players coming in. But to come in and get the pinch hit, we watch it again. Look at that. It's outside 4 feet.
Yeah, he wasn't going to take it. He got up on the plate, and he just reaches out and pokes it over the second baseman's head. And the Rebels with Aaron Greenwood scoring the winning run. DK, we have 3 RBIs in the College World Series. Holt Pertzog's got 2 of them. John Gatlin's got the other. And Aaron Greenwood scored one of the 3 runs.
How about them apples?
Go figure that one.
Ole Miss will play Thursday night and will extend the season. Stay tuned. Our 10th inning show is coming up from Omaha. The Ole Miss Rebels with a 2-1 victory over the Red Raiders of Texas Tech as their season will end. They're shaking hands with the Rebels right now. Aaron Greenwood steps on the plate. A breaking ball away a foot. And the right-handed hitting John Gatlin reaches and pokes it into right center for an RBI single to win the game for Ole Miss. And John Gatlin on the year, no home runs, only 5 RBIs, hitting 103. Only the 25th game he's played in all year. That was only his 30th at bat. You gotta love it.
It feels like the deck is stacked against you before you even start your business. What's the difference between someone who fails and someone who succeeds? To succeed, you need an edge. You might invent technology that nobody else can imagine. Maybe you make the perfect product with the perfect fit. But what every successful business has is a bank that is there for them. Instead of saying slow down, a bank that asks, what's next? Renaissance Bank, understanding you.
They say Diet Coke is a mom's drink. Well, you copied her jeans, her spin, her shoes, her scrunchie, and whether you realize it or not, her music. Now, copy her drink. Drink what your mama gave you.
Hey, honey, could you help me with this? Today tastes like staying in. And it never tasted this good.
You're always pushing yourself. There's no time to rest. You keep moving forward. The only thing better than your last accomplishment is your next.
What's next? What's next?
What's next?
So, Allie, what's next?
I guess we'll see.
Find a bank that's as excited about your future as you are. A bank that asks,
what's next?
Renaissance Bank, understanding you.
So you said it a long time ago, you were going to be a professional baseball player. You got to live that. Talk about whenever you went with the Astros.
Yeah.
Talk about that moment, and then just, again, those feelings of saying, I did it.
Yeah. So I get back from Omaha. We're celebrating like all college kids do in that scenario, and I have an exit meeting with Coach Bianco. And prior in a meeting at the end of a previous season, we had a conversation about my injuries and playing, and he, being very honest, and I respected that so much about him. I love it, and I plan on doing that if I coach. Told me that he thought I was going to be a great college baseball player, but he didn't think I was going to have an opportunity to play at the next level.
Right.
And I told him I wanted to, and he said, "Well, prove me wrong." He said, "Okay," but it was a very respectful thing. It wasn't I never held anything against him. He was being honest, and he was probably right. And the Astros, long story short, I have my exit meeting after I get back from Omaha. And I had been throwing bullpens because he told me if we get to Omaha and we go up 10 runs, down 10 runs, you're athletic enough, we're probably going to put you on a mound so we can save our pitchers. Mm-hmm. So I had thrown some bullpens and looked pretty good. And he I guess he had caught wind of that I was throwing pretty hard and looked good on the mound. And in that exit meeting after Omaha, he said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And like the idiot I was, I still said, "I want to play pro baseball." Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, he looked at me and he said, "We can do it. Let's do it. Let's make it happen." He said, "I don't know if you can do it as a hitter, but I think you have the arm to do it as a pitcher maybe." Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he made call. I don't know how it developed, but Justin Cryer, who's a former Ole Miss player himself, was the Astros scout at the time, calls me and said, "Hey, I'm coming down to Oxford. I want to see you throw a bullpen at Swayze. Can you do it tomorrow?" or whenever it was. And I said, "Absolutely, 100%, Comes down, Austin Knight and I go out there as a catcher from Summerall, Mississippi, great catcher, pitching coach now at University of Tennessee. But Austin and I worked very hard together, so it was very fitting that he was catching this bullpen. And scout came in, stood behind home plate. I threw, 10, 12 pitches, lit up the radar gun a few times. He said, "Throw a slider." I said, "I don't know how to throw a slider." Mm-hmm. He said, "Well, try this." And I threw a probably the best slot I've ever thrown. Never threw a good one after that. But he loved it, and he said, let me make a quick phone call. Walks off, comes back. He says, you want to play for Houston Astros? And I said, I do. He said, well, let's go sign, you know. So I walk in, Coach Bianco's office. They print me off a contract, sign my name, walk out. Coach B gives me a huge hug, you know. And basically, it was one of those hugs of you did it, you know. And I pick up the phone, call my mom and dad, obviously crying. I'm a big crier.
Yeah.
I tell my dad, I said, I've just signed with the Houston Astros, and he just went radio silent. And I knew what he was doing. He couldn't keep it together. And told my mom, they were hysterical. They couldn't talk. Hung up the phone, called Alex Williamson.
Nice.
And said, I just signed with the Houston Astros. And I said, I don't know if you remember. And he said, I remember that you told me when you sign a pro contract, you're going to call your mom and dad, and then you're going to call me. And I did. And he said, the first thing he said, this is awesome. Perfect. If you know him, this fits him perfect.
Yeah.
I sweat a lot. I was a heavy sweater when I played. And he knew I was going down to Florida in the middle of the summer as a pitcher.
Yeah.
His very first words out of his mouth were, what are you going to do? How are you going to hold on to the ball as bad as you sweat? That was it.
So that's
that was
100%
it.
Alex,
Yeah, and
yes.
I was like, that I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'll figure that out when I get there, you know. And 24 hours later, I'm on a plane taking out of Memphis, flying down to Kissimmee, Florida, get off the plane, get picked up by a bus, and I am in the bullpen in a minor league game the next day. Have never pitched in my life, and then have to go in and throw.
Yep. Well, John, I know you got to get back to your team. I didn't realize we had talked this much already.
It's fine.
But I do want to just kind of reflect and maybe you give some advice. So when you look back at your time again, it's a great story. You know, come to ICC, you set a dream, you achieve a dream, you make it to the Astros. If there's a baseball player or any athlete out there right now that has that same dream, how would you, or what advice would you give them to chase that dream?
Oh man, that's you've got to reason with yourself. The dream. There's even guys that have the skill set and talent to do it, but they don't believe it in themselves. And I may have not have had the talent and skill set from others' perspective to do it, but in my head I did. You know, even when I got released from the Astros, it was like, well, what team's going to pick me up next? Right. You know, I never thought it would end, which is a little silly, but I think had I not sold out to it that hard, I don't think it would have happened. I respect when people say, well, you need to have a plan B, or, you know, there's only 1% of baseball players that do this. Well, somebody's got to be the 1%, right? Yeah. And I always told people I could take the time that I'm worried about a backup plan of what job I want to have and apply that time to plan A and give me a leg up.
Love it.
So I was sold out to plan A since day one. I still understand the saying, you need to have a backup plan.
Right.
I totally get it. I know that's true. But for me to get to that level, I had to sell out to plan A, and there was no backup plan. And I did it. Did not do it for very long. I wanted to still be doing it today. But I can tell my kids one day that I did it, you know, for a short period of time.
What did the game of baseball give you beyond the wins, the stats, all that? You know, you put what you get what you put in. What did baseball give back to you?
Gosh, beyond all that stuff, the friendships and all that, this is pretty cliche, but it is so true. It is such a game of failure that you learn how to fail and how to overcome adversity. And it's the only sport in the world where 3 out of 10 is good. You know, any other sport in the world, if you perform 3 out of 10 times, you're not going to have a job. If you hit 300 as a career hitter in the big leagues, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
That is what baseball has taught me, is how to respond when you get kicked in the shin and you're on the mat. How do you get up? Are you defeated? Or is this just another day where you know how to handle the failure, you know?
When you hear the words Itawamba Community College, what do they mean to you?
Oh, gosh. I tell people this all the time. You know, I played baseball a very long time at the highest levels, for the most part, aside the higher minor leagues and big leagues, but I played with some of the highest level players in the world in the minor leagues and great environments. Played in Omaha, Duty Noble, Swayze. And I tell people, if I'm on my deathbed and someone said, you have one more year, one more season of your baseball past to go back and play, where are you going? And I tell people to this day, I would go to Fulton, Mississippi and play one more year at ICC just the way we did it because it was that special to me.
Well, John, I appreciate your time today. I know we had a great conversation. I know we can still keep talking forever on this, man, but it's great to have you back. Great to see you again, man. It's been forever. You look like you can still go. You still got that little fuel in the fire a little bit to get out there every once in a while?
A little bit. I have 3 young kids and a stressful job, so my exercise at this day and age is more therapeutic than it is for performance.
Yeah.
But yes, if it were up to me, I would quit my job and go play for nothing.
There you go.
I don't think my wife would want me to do that.
No, but she might not like that too much. We hadn't talked about that side of life now. I know I keep saying we're going to go. But how's it feel, man, being a dad of 3? I know we've tried to get together a few weeks, and you're like, man, life's a little busy. But just to kind of just talk about life in general now.
Yep, it is. I understand my friends that had kids before I did when they would simply say they just are too busy or they would forget to do things. I used to never understand how that's possible. How are you too busy to write back or whatever? Right. And now I have 3 kids under 5, and I'm going, oh, I get it. I totally get it. I don't even know what day of the week it is most of the time. Yeah. But it is fun. I think it has helped me transition away from this little bit, admittedly, of holding on to a dream still that I felt like never really got fulfilled to what I wanted it to be. Now I can transition to watching my kids do things that they love and watch them do their dreams. And that's been a great distraction's not a good word. It's been a great gear change, I guess, for me.
One of those that, as they call it, the good stuff in life.
That's correct. Very much so.
Well, John, again, I appreciate it, man. Hopefully we get together, man. If you ever come back to a baseball game, we always got a mic open for you in the booth if you ever want to come up.
I would love to. I'll be back.
Guys, you're not going to believe the luck I've had lately. Just the other day, I had a flat tire, thought I was in big trouble. Before I know it, somebody pulled over, fixed the tire.
Oh, that's not luck, Kirk. It's because
that's not the only thing. How about when I'm in a studio, drop the cell phone, bang, shatters completely. Guy hands me a brand new cell phone.
Yeah, Kirk, that's because you have Renaissance Rewards Extra.
Yeah, roadside assistance, cell phone protection, coupon straight to your phone.
And another discount with Renaissance Rewards Extra, Mr. Herbstreit.
Life's just easier when you have Renaissance Rewards Extra.
ICC fans, we've got you covered like never before. The all-new Let'sGoICC.com is your award-winning home for everything ICC athletics, and when it's game time or showtime, head to Let'sGoICCTV.com, the official streaming home for ICC athletics, fine arts, and other special events. Watch it live or on demand anytime, anywhere. Let'sGoICC.com and Let'sGoICCTV.com, your front row seat for all things ICC.
It all leads to this moment. It started with stepping out and discovering what you're capable of, planning your future while learning, serving, and getting a real collegiate experience. Because the place you start can change everything. Itawamba Community College. You belong here.